Back to one of our leading stories. Rescue operations are continuing in flood-stricken KZN. The Gift of the Givers founder, Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, raising concern over the state's preparedness for such disasters. Since April 2022, over 100 families have been displaced and relocated after floods in Lamontville, in Durban and other parts of KwaZulu-Natal. Let's cross to our reporter, Nqobile Madlala, with the latest. Nqobile?
As you can see behind me, there's this scene that's playing out. Basically, there's over 100 families that are now going to leave this space. You'll remember that they were already moved from a certain place, which is called a mega city, where they were then moved to this area because that area was prone to floods. However, this, of course, has affected them quite deeply. You'll remember that on Tuesday, these families were affected by floods, with a number of them also losing their loved ones. So these same families are now being moved again. They are moving to Chatsworth. And in Chatsworth, this is where they are going to find refuge, at least for now. And already these families have asked that eThekwini, as well as the province, that they provide decent housing for all these families, because most of them are still looking for assistance in terms of decent housing. However, at the same time, you will remember when there's incidents like this, there's also food that's needed as much as there's shelter that's needed. And this is where we find the gift of the givers. And I want to bring in my guest now to speak to me to those issues. Kefiloe, it's a sad scene because these are families and their lives are being uprooted. Take me through the process that the gift of the givers are taking now.
Hello, Nqobile. Thank you for having me. So we're here to support, obviously, as a disaster management and response foundation. We're helping out the residents here following the floods that happened on Tuesday evening. We did arrive here yesterday to do an assessment and support the disaster management as well as eThekwini human settlement. So what we've done is that we've assisted in the relocation of people from these homes here to the Bayview Community Hall, where yesterday we only managed to get about 65 people that last night, where we were able to give them mattresses, blankets, hygiene packs, as well as hot meals. So they spent the night over there, but unfortunately they had to return today to then take their belongings because the municipality plans to demolish this area. So we're here to support in any way that we can, because more people will be going to the Bayview Community Hall. So we're here to see what it is that we can do in continuation to support the cause here.
You guys have been dealing with these families on a close range. Take me through the emotions they're going through.
Yeah. It's not even something I can fully express. It's absolutely terrible to be displaced, firstly, following a natural disaster, something that you can't even control. Some people have lost their loved ones, as you've mentioned. Now some people are losing their homes, the only home they've known for a couple of years. Firstly, they were placed here in 2021 as a temporary measure, and now it's 2025, and they're still here. But unfortunately, because of the recent events, now they have to be moved. But they're moving to another temporary place. So it's absolutely terrible for them. Some kids go to schools around here, so being placed in a different location where they can't get to school, where they don't have any food or any shelter, without knowing how long this measure is going to be given to them for. I think it's absolutely shocking. There's also a lot of trauma. Having a TLB come and break down some of the things while they're still moving out, I think it's absolutely scary to experience. And there's a lot of children here as well. So it's sad, it's scary, and you have no idea what your next plan is as a family. Yeah.
And because you deal with such circumstances that we find these families in, would you say our government is ready for such disasters?
Oh, sheesh, not at all. I think they need the support of the rest of the other organizations that are a part of events such as this, including Gift of the Givers and others that have shown up. So I think there's a lot that our government needs to do in terms of ensuring that people, firstly, are living in safe places, but also with the stormwater draining, it's the biggest problem. It's insane how often flooding happens in this area or in the eThekwini municipality in general. So people's lives are constantly in danger.
Where can they improve? Because, I mean, you can't prepare for a disaster, but you can at least have a certain standard where people at least don't have to lose their lives.
Where can they improve? I think firstly with housing. That's the first place. Human settlement needs to make sure that people are placed in safe homes. Like I said, this was a temporary place, and then they ended up staying here for 3 to 4 years. There's no real plan in terms of ensuring that people are housed correctly and that wherever they are, they're not near any floodplains or canals or rivers. That's the first place where I think we need to get it right. And then also, I think just support in terms of putting measures in place to ensure that whenever anything like this happens, people have a place to go. Now, the people are placed at Bayview, but we still need to find another community hall to accommodate the rest of the families that are coming in today. So even that is another thing that you have to consider, that the other communities around need to be able to stand up and support the communities that are in danger.
All right. And where to from here then, as Gift of the Givers? Are you going to be with them all the way?
So, of course, we're going to support them as much as we can. Unfortunately, today, there's not much else we can do. They will be moved along with their belongings, their trucks that the municipality has provided that will help them move to Bayview municipality. We're waiting to hear back from the municipality in terms of where the next community hall will be, where they take in the rest of the people. We will be trying to support them with sleeping material, hygiene packs, food hampers, as well as hot meals for the evening and tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Kefiloe. I think that help is much needed, if you can just... and that help goes into this view. As you can see, the families that are currently affected. We know that the municipality is, of course, on the ground, as well as the province itself, to try and assist these families. We know that all the officials have come on the ground as well to see just how much these families have been impacted. But at the end of the day, Vuyo, these are families that are being uprooted in the space where they were supposed to be here temporarily, and that has not happened. And as a result of the fact that they don't have decent housing, this is what is happening to them. Now you can imagine that Dingiswayo family, for example, that have to now start over again, that has that trauma of having lost 3 people already. They have to prepare for a funeral, they have to move on, but at the same time, that anxiety that they have to deal with, not knowing exactly where to go from here. We know, though, that that temporal measure, and much like the previous floods, really, it's to go to the hall, but what's next? Is there a home for them? What happens next? And this is what the Gift of the Givers is saying. There needs to be structures where government now is able to say, this is where we will take you should there be a disaster. And that's the point now that the KwaZulu-Natal government has to look at in terms of if there are many disasters. We've already heard from the officials yesterday. They said that KZN is currently experiencing so many disasters, and they are aware that there's no place that is safe. They said it themselves, Vuyo. If there's nowhere to be that is safe, then where do people go to? And these are some of the conversations that needs to be had, as well as the infrastructure. You hear that the storm drain being one of the major issues because the water piles up, and so people are affected later on. So what is the plan for those infrastructure? These are some of the things that the Gift of the Givers is saying needs to be highlighted. Back to you, Vuyo.
Indeed, Nqobile Madlala with that update there, but also summing up some of the key issues that have been raised. You may recall that yesterday we had the MSCs of Akokta and human settlements in that province are talking about the same issues, but for the most part, really seemingly themselves in a bit of a fix and not knowing how to proceed on some of those issues. And once again, the Gift of the Givers, which always come in situations like this, raising some fundamental questions. The question really now is whether people are going to move with speed to deal with all of those issues that Nqobile Madlala there summed up.